What are some not fun facts? Someone commits suicide every 40 seconds. I remember George Carlin, a dark humor comedian, said this during a show, then gleefully looked at his watch and said, "There goes another one." Still smiling. I miss George so much. R.I.P. That man was a national treasure. Some whales, when old, no longer have enough strength to swim for as long, so if they swim too deep, they might not have enough strength to swim back up to get air, so they end up drowning. Edit. Some people smarter than I have pointed out that they technically don't drown, but instead suffocate from the lack of air. This is apparently because whales have to manually breathe instead of it being done automatically. On the topic of dead whales, whenever they die and their bodies reach the surface, they will eventually explode like a balloon. The reason they reach the surface is the same as why they blow up. Gas buildup. If you get a roach infestation bad enough, they will eat your skin while you sleep. They will also crawl into your ear, which is a horrible experience. That sounds like it's coming from experience. Unfortunately it is. The reason why dogs love squeaky toys is because it sounds like tiny animals dying. I've always thought this, and then when my dog rips out a squeaker and brings it to me, it scares me. It's like my dog is showing me she can kill things and rip out their life force, and she wants to be congratulated for it. Edit. Just to be clear, I do congratulate my dog after and throw away the plastic. I'm proud of my vicious 10-pound killer of stuffed animals, of a mole to poo, centuries of hunting instinct. She's just bringing you a present. There's a plant in Australia called the Gympie tree that has hairs all over it that are small enough and are compared to hypodermic needles. And whenever a person touches the plant, these hairs stick into your skin and inject a toxin that causes a pain compared to the affected area being covered in acid and set on fire. And what makes it worse is that the pain lasts months to years. Edit. Changed spelling of some words. Pretty sure there was a guy that used it for toilet paper. Yep, and unsurprisingly he shot himself. Edit. Wow, my first award and my highest ranked comment in true Reddit style is about a guy who went through the 3 stages of Gympie grief shat, shock, shot. Hedgehogs can get a disease called wobbly hedgehog syndrome, which is an adorable name for hedgehog manuscript. Bloody hell, me hedgehogs got the wibbly wobbly upsy turns around disease right in the knickers. When it comes to heart disease, the very first symptom in roughly 1/3 of all cases is sudden death. Meaning you could be perfectly healthy and drop dead because you had heart disease and didn't know it. Check your family history, people. Yup, my old man was 64, ate healthy, ran every day, had an old guy 6-pack, didn't drink or smoke, and loved his job. One day he just literally fell over dead. Silent ischemia. There are a few things that, if you flush down the toilet, will most certainly make it into the hands of the operator at your local water plant. They are called the 3 C's. Condoms, cockroaches, and con. Their hands. You would hope they could invest in some kind of pool skimmer net. Nap, they like raw dogging the poopy water like that. Real life not fun fact, after a vasectomy there are still healthy living sperms in your semen. You'll have to ejaculate for about 50 times before you are out of them. Can confirm. My uncle got a vasectomy and his wife was pregnant with twins a few weeks later. By the mailman. His first mistake was getting a vasectomy by a mailman. Unless things have changed, they are not qualified to do that. The outside of your eye prevents your immune system from ever knowing about the inside of your eye. If a puncture allows the two to meet, your immune system may attack and destroy your eye as an invader. Terms for the horrified who cling to their skepticism as a shield against acknowledging this unfun fact to Google. Immune privilege of the eye. You're welcome. And that's why, if one eye gets damaged and goes blind, you can lose both eyes. The immune system attacks the other intact eye, causing it to go blind. Till my eyes are like my government. Babies can die after consuming honey. The botulinum toxin, like the one in Botox, will paralyze their muscles, causing floppy baby syndrome. Edit. To clarify, the bacterial spores, basically a super resistant sleepy form of the microbe, are in the honey, not the actual toxin. After going into the human they start the party and produce the toxin. They really should have named that something else. You can die from Alzheimer's due to the brain forgetting how to swallow or breathe. That's usually how you die from Alzheimer's. Yeah. But a surprising amount of people don't even know you can die from Alzheimer's. The Spanish flu was one of the most lethal pandemics in history. Edited out the most. There are lots of elements that determine the deadliness of these various diseases and too much uncertainty and death tolls to say for sure which disease was the most lethal. People who caught it bled from their ears, experienced nausea and extreme fever, their skin turned shades of blue, and experienced extreme pain from the slightest touch. It caused internal hemorrhaging. 18 to 35 adults' immune systems, which would typically be considered the strongest, would react so strongly that their bodies would fill up with antibodies and fluid, literally drowning the infected with their own defense mechanism. This happened for a specific reason. See Peakman's comment. Edit. If you are looking for a good source, The Great Influenza by John M. Berry is a good one. It was the worst of the 20th century, but not all of history. The plague has a much higher death toll for I think 1348 to 1350. It is kind of interesting why they call is the Spanish influenza of 1918, though Spain was one of the few places actually reporting accurate morbidity and mortality rates. Brain aneurysms can happen at any time in your life and you won't know until it's too late, or if a doctor accidentally finds it. My cousin had his first brain aneurysm at 23 in 2003. Week prior complained of headaches. Was taking hot shower and collapsed. Made a flight to hospital and the docs operated on brain and managed to save him. Told us he'd be like a little kid for rest of life. He managed to make a full recovery within 5 years. Learned to walk/talk again. Everything. It was amazing and unimaginable at the same time. Only reminder was the scar on his head. He had his second and fatal brain aneurysm in his sleep at age 36 in 2016. No symptoms this time. He was always living on borrowed time. Just glad we got an additional 13 years with him before he left us for good. If you have two pregnant cows give birth at the same time, and one cow's calf dies and the other mother cow dies leaving her calf orphaned, you can skin the dead calf and drape the skin over the living calf. Then the living mother will believe the orphaned calf is hers by smell and pattern of the skin and feed the calf, keeping it alive. Edit. I just woke up for milking, and to my surprise this post got a fair bit of attention. Haha. I should note people nowadays would only do this if they had only the two cows and no neighbors to get milk off to hand raise the calf. Working on a dairy where we have many cows calving at the same time, we can just leave them with a group of mothers and someone will feed it. Usually we will milk the mother cow and hand feed the calves in a shelter as we're not a huge dairy. Second edit. A calf needs the first milk from a mother cow that's just calved. This milk is called colostrum. It contains all the antibodies that fight infections and bacteria and help boost the calf's immune system. You must get this into the calf within 6-12 hours of the calf's birth to help it survive and be healthy. If you only own the two cows and you have this exact scenario where one mother died and the other mother's calf dies and she refuses to take on the orphan calf and you have no neighbors with colostrum to bottle feed it, then this would be one way for you to keep this calf alive. Again, for the people who are saying other mothers take on the calves, this is true. But in the scenario I'm suggesting, the farmer only owns the two cows. When one dies you're only left with the one cow, no other mothers to take on the calf. Sperm attracts ants because it contains fructose. I learned it the hard way this morning. If it makes you feel any better, those ants were female. See you later, virgins. Heroin overdose is so prevalent and dangerous because of how fast tolerance bounces back. So let's say an addict gets arrested and is in jail for a few days, weeks, whatever. If they're a heavy user, even half the dose they last used could kill them. I actually heard an interesting thing about heroin overdose during a lecture. Taking heroin in a different place or different kind of place can actually lead to overdoses. Basically it's like Pavlov's dog. When you have the same ritual, including place, your body actually prepares itself. I assume heart rates change, etc. and has situation specific tolerance. You have it somewhere without the ritual and your body doesn't do that preparation, meaning you have less tolerance to the drug, even if it's the same dose as normal. Fascinating concept. Edit. Thank you for the silver kind redditor. If you shine a flashlight/smartphone on a newborn sea turtle for too long, which could be only minutes, it will start crawling around in circles. known as the Ring of Death. It means that the turtle's eyesight has been permanently damaged due to mistaking your lights for the moon that guides it to the sea. By doing this, you have doomed the sea turtle to death right after birth. Edit. Information was given to me by the Sea Turtle Preservation Society in Indialantic, FL during a presentation. It's really sad that this is even a known thing. Poor turtles. Got any similar stories? Leave it in the comments below.